Hello everyone. Today I'm tying a smelt baitfish pattern on a jig. This is a new addition to my jig playlist. The hook is a Gamakatsu size 4 1/4 ounce jig. The thread for this part of the fly is the Semperfli Nano Silk 18-aught white. Start the thread about 1/3 of the way back from the jig head and trim the tag. This will be the base to secure the eyes. For the eyes, I'm using 6mm silver 3D eyes. Secure the eyes on top of the hook at the start of the wrap and centered with figure 8 wraps and add thin head cement. For the tail wing, prepare the white polar fiber and comb out a section. Trim close to the base to get the full length of the fibers and comb out the short fibers. Secure the fibers from underneath the hook, starting at the base of the eyes, and wrap along the straight portion of the hook. Bring the thread back to the start and trim the excess. Next, prepare a small clump of pearl ice Dubb shimmer fringe. Divide the fibers evenly and secure on top of the hook. Starting behind the eyes and wrap along the threaded area. Have the length even with the polar fiber. Trim the excess flush with the wrap behind the eye and build up the thread. Prepare the blue polar fiber the same way as the white. Divide the fibers evenly and secure on top of the pearl shimmer fringe. Trim the butt square behind the eyes and secure with tight wraps along the threaded area and bring it back to the start. Have the tip slightly longer than the shimmer fringe. Next, split the thread, wax both sides and add the silver ice Dubb loosely. Add the dubbing twister, double over the thread twice, and spin to secure the dubbing. Thread tension on the dubbing twister is the key to this step. Brush out the dubbing thoroughly. I want the bulk around the twisted thread thinned out as much as possible before I wrap it around the threaded area. Wrap the dubbing forward along the threaded area with tight wraps towards the eyes, pulling the fibers back with your fingers after each wrap. Secure by the thread in front of the eyes. Trim the excess. Build up the thread and whip finish. Brush out the dubbing and pull the fibers back towards the tail wing. Take a section of white polar fiber, already prepared, and secure from underneath the hook flush with the eyes. Add the white polar fiber on each side of the body, left and right, and secure behind the eye. Prepare a section of the charcoal gray polar fiber, like the others. Place it on top of the hook with the split fibers on each side of the hook. Secure behind the eye with tight secure wraps and whip finish. Trim the excess flush with the wraps. Build up the thread around the trimmed ends and add thin head cement. Next, split the thread, wax both sides, and add the silver ice dub loosely. Add the dubbing twister, double over the thread, and spin to secure the dubbing. Brush out the dubbing thoroughly. Wrap the dubbing with tight edge-to-edge wraps towards the eyes. Wrap in between the eyes to secure by the thread in front of the eyes. Trim the excess, build up the thread, and whip finish. Brush out the dubbing and pull the fibers back. Add the white polar fiber already prepared from underneath and secure with tight wraps in front of the eyes. The wing is slightly shorter than the previous wing for a taper. Add the charcoal gray polar fiber on top of the hook and secure in front of the eyes, opposite of the white. Trim the excess flush with the wraps. Build up the thread, whip finish, and trim the thread. Next, take the same thread and secure all the fibers, top, bottom, and the sides, in behind the eyes. A dozen or so wraps, trim the tag, and whip finish. Prepare a small section of pink ice dub shimmer fringe. Trim close to the base to get the full length of the fibers. Trim the ends even and secure along the side of the wing at the collar. Repeat on the other side of the wing and secure. Take about a half a dozen strands of silver Flashabou. Wet the strands to keep them together, drain, and secure it along the side of the wing and trim it shorter than the main wing. Repeat on the opposite side and trim the flash even with the other. Whip finish and trim. Take the red thread, wrap over the white collar, whip finish and trim. Add the head cement to the wrap. Once the collar is completely dry, add 5-minute epoxy over the wrap. Next, I'm switching over to the Semperfli Nano Silk 24/0 white for the next part of the fly. Start the thread and trim the tag and wrap towards the base of the wing and whip finish. Next, split the thread, wax both sides, and add the pearl ice dub loosely. Add the dubbing twister, double over the thread, and spin to secure the dubbing. Brush out the dubbing thoroughly. Wrap the dubbing with tight edge-to-edge wraps, starting at the base of the wing, going forward. Secure by the thread, trim the excess, and build up the thread. Brush out the dubbing and pull the fibers back over the eyes. Prepare another section of white polar fiber and secure from underneath the hook, slightly shorter than the previous wing. Add another section of the charcoal gray polar fiber on top of the hook, opposite of the white, and secure with tight wraps. Have the wing shorter than the previous top wing for a taper. Finally, add the blue polar fiber on top of the gray, slightly shorter than the previous wing, and secure. Next, prepare 2 silver badger hackles. Take the first hackle and measure along the side of the wing. I want the tip shorter than the main wing. Remove the waste fibers from the base of the stem, even with the thread. Peel away the bottom half of the fibers from the stem and leave the tips intact. Add the prepared hackle with the second hackle, place them back to back, and remove the fibers from the second hackle to match the first. Take the first hackle, flatten the stem. Secure along the wing above the eyes by the flattened stem. Trim the excess polar fiber butts flush with the wrap while leaving the stem intact. Secure the second hackle on the opposite side the same way. Fold the stems over on each side, secure, trim the excess, and build up the thread. This will secure the stems better. Finally, add 6 strands of peacock curl tips on top of the hook. Have the tips slightly longer than the main wing. Split the fiber so there's 3 strands on each side of the hook. Secure and trim the excess. Build up the thread, whip finish, and add thin head cement. Once dry, add the 5-minute epoxy over the wrap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the like button to see more fly tying videos.